25%, either one of those numbers. They've raised $500 million, billion dollars, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Look, we finally beat Medicare. And notice how Jake Tapper jumped in and said, thank you very much, Joe Biden. In response, here's what Donald Trump said, 107.
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare because all of these people are coming in. They're putting them on Medicare. They're putting them on Social Security. They're going to destroy Social Security. This man is going to single-handedly destroy Social Security. These millions and millions of people coming in, they're trying to put them on Social Security. He will wipe out Social Security. He will wipe out Medicare. So he was right in the way he finished that sentence. And it's a shame. What's happened to our country in the last 4 years is not to be believed. Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people, they cannot believe what happened to the United States of America. We're no longer respected. They don't like us. We give them everything they want, and they think we're stupid. They think we're very stupid people. What we're doing for other countries, and they do nothing for us. What this man has done is absolutely criminal.
And speaking of not really understanding, completing a sentence, I have no idea what happened here. 114, Mr. McConnell.
We find ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either.
It was a long, long, painful night. Now, one of the things that happened is that Joe Biden repeated the Charlottesville lie. We talked about this yesterday at length. That Joe Biden launched his campaign claiming that the reason he got into the race, the reason he suited up, is because Donald Trump, in referring to the tragedy of Charlottesville, said there were very fine people, referring to the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis. Very fine people. And that's when I knew I had to get into the race. Well, Biden repeated it last night. And Jake Tapper, who at one time said that it was not true that Donald Trump was saying there were very fine white nationalists. He was saying that there were very fine people who were protesting alongside the white nationalists on the issue of whether there should be a Confederate monument, in this case Robert E. Lee, in the public square. He said he was not saying that there were very fine white nationalists and neo-Nazis. Jake Tapper said that. Yet last night, when Biden repeated it, Jake Tapper did not say one word. Biden again implied that his son contracted cancer in Iraq when there's no evidence of that. 115, Mr. McConnell.
We're also in a situation where we have great respect for veterans. My son spent a year in Iraq, living right next to one of those burn pits, came back with stage 4 glioblastoma.
Came back with stage 4 cancer. That's been fact-checked. There's no evidence that the service personnel that served in Iraq have contracted cancer at a rate any higher than other service personnel serving in other parts of the world over the last several wars. No evidence whatsoever. And he still says it. And of course, Biden repeated the lie that Donald Trump referred to soldiers buried in Europe, World War II vets, as losers and suckers. Cut 116, Mr. McConnell.
I went to the World War II cemetery, World War I cemetery he refused to go to. He was standing with his four-star general, and he told me, he said, I don't want to go in there because they're a bunch of losers and suckers. My son was not a loser, was not a sucker. You're the sucker. You're the loser.
President Trump?
First of all, that was a made-up quote, suckers and losers. They made it up. It was in a third-rate magazine that's failing, like many of these magazines. He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taken better care. I'm so glad this came up, and he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I have. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him, just like Russia was made up, just like the 51 intelligence agents are made up, just like the new thing with the 16 economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son, Hunter. It wasn't Russia disinformation. He made up the suckers and losers, so he should apologize to me right now.
Four-star general standing to your side who was on your staff who said you said it, period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line.
If I had a nickel for every time Biden last night said, the idea, I could fund my campaign. Yeah, a general claimed that he said it. The only person there who claimed he said it. By the way, Trump fired that general. And there was a fact check on this. And this left-wing fact check said there's no evidence, no video, no tape, no evidence that Donald Trump in fact said this. Yet Joe Biden repeats it again and again and again. And of course, they talked about abortion. And Joe Biden claimed that nobody ever supports late-term abortion. Cut number 111, Mr. McConnell.
That means he can.
Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. The first time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about women's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
And Trump hammered him. 112, Mr. McConnell.
That means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to, as we say, rip the baby out of the womb in the 9th month and kill the baby. Nobody wants that to happen, Democrat or Republican. Nobody wants it to happen.
Biden supports what's called the Women's Health Protection Act. And the bill states, and I quote, "The right to abortion shall not be limited or otherwise infringed." End of quote. That would effectively allow abortion up to the moment of birth, provided the mother says okay, and provided a doctor is willing to do it. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. gave an interview to Sage Steele and was asked whether he supports any limitations at all. And he said up to a woman and her doctor. And she happened to be pro-life. And she said, including full term, to which he responded, including full term. End of quote. So Biden lied. Trump made some exaggerations, certainly, said some things that were not true, certainly. But honestly, this lie that Biden is mentally competent, that's got to be the biggest one.
For the full episode of The Dennis Prager Show, go to pragertopia.com, sign up, and become a full member.